comes that intro video.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay
This
Moore.
is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick
This
Marotta.
is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Hi, this is Michael Marshall, and you're listening to the Break It Down Show.
Man, I've been a fan of Michael Marshall for a long, long time. Growing up in Vallejo, California, we always had our eye on Berkeley. Michael Marshall grew up in Berkeley, California, and was a groundbreaker. Berkeley was a groundbreaker in a lot of things.
Yeah.
First of all, you guys over there at Berkeley High had the first African American studies program of any high school anywhere in the country, I believe.
Yes.
And of course, it's an apt place for it to have started. You also specifically grew up in the musical influence of Berkeley and specifically of the Church of God in Christ, which produces amazing singers and amazing musicians. Mm-hmm. So Mike Marshall, though, a younger generation would know Mike Marshall as the singer of The Hook on I Got Five on It. Right. An even younger generation would know Mike Marshall as the singer and musical creator of Rumors, the Timex Social Club, and the Timex Social Club was born of talent shows out of Berkeley High. And an even younger audience than that would know of, actually, I keep saying younger, but a previous audience, which would make an older audience, would know about Mike Marshall's participation in a band in the Bay Area that we loved called the Mo-Fessionals. And so all of that is to say that Michael Marshall, otherwise known as Mike Meezy, has given us not only rap hooks, but a lot of soulful music with his vocal stylings and his musical creations as a songwriter that we have known in the Bay Area, in the country, in the world, actually, for a very long time. And Michael Marshall is a person who I think is still due quite a bit in this world for his musical contributions for the entertainment of all of us. Mike Marshall, thank you for coming on the Getting the Gig segment of the Break It Down show. I appreciate it, man.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So I was saying offline before we started, you and I have not met in person, although I've been in the same room with you many times. But we've never just made the introduction, and we have several mutual friends. And through that, I have watched the progress of your career. I've been a big time and long time admirer.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's talk about your singing career and how it very, very first started.
Okay. Like you say, I started in the church. I have 3 siblings, and my mom was a member of the choir, and I think she was tasked with creating some kind of music entertainment thing for the church on Sundays after Sunday school. And so she was have us sing as a group various little children gospel songs. I remember that from Sunday school when I was younger. We sang songs that were different than what the choir was. They were a little bit more simpler, and they actually showed us the words as we sang them. It was one of those kind of things. But yeah, I've been singing since my mom had us start singing.
Yeah, so you were in a breeding ground for good singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so the church gave you opportunity to sing not only, with under the tutelage of your mom, but to your church community. So you got stage time.
Yeah. If you can sing in church, they want you to do it. And we're there every Sunday. So the rotation
all day long.
Yeah, all day long. And then the rotation that comes up quickly. So yeah, I sang in front of the church a lot.
Yeah. So tell us about, as you made your way through children's choir and then into eventually you sang with your mom in the real choir, and you were doing all of those things. How long did that last? How much
Oh,
of your
from
life?
about 11 years, from 5 to about 16.
Wow. So the thing about singing in church, especially the Church of God in Christ, as I know it, and I've not been a congregation member, but I have a lot of friends
Hmm.
in that system, is it makes for great gospel singers, and it gives you that stage time and that that stage presence and that resilience. Um, is it fair to say, and I'm not, it's not an indictment of faith systems as they influence people, but is it fair to say that the church sheltered you from the business of music?
Oh, yeah. Sheltered me from the business of everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
my only reference to money at that age and coming up was giving it to the church. What we call an offering is when people come and bring money to the front. I don't know if they were having them do it that way so that they can be seen, or if it was just old school from back when the religion started. But that was my first understanding and introduction to money and money being spent.
Mm.
Rent, car notes, and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have. I wasn't in the loop on all that. So the only time I ever interacted with money and saw money being done or money being talked about was in church.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, I think people in general in this country, we really lack a financial education
Hmm.
for young people, especially a sophisticated financial education as it relates to royalties and things that you're going to have to deal with
Sure, for
as an
sure.
entertainer.
Hmm.
Specifically in the church, though, you're surrounded by uh, people in your congregation who you know and love. So there are a lot of, you know, f- let's say evil forces in the world,
Yeah.
the worldly forces that you just are not exposed to. And for all the, pure reasons of just trying to bring a kid up the right way,
Hmm.
but then you're thrust into the world, and especially the world of entertainment.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a cold game because the world of entertainment, the world of anything, is all based on capitalism. And
Mm.
I didn't have a true grasp of what that was for many years, even after I left the church. It took me a long time to figure out what was going on in the world around money, people, and prestige. Um, and so being thrusted into a business and not understanding that aspect of it left me at a disadvantage.
Wow. Uh, I have never asked this question of my friends, your former colleagues in the Professionals, but I'm going to ask you, what was it like economically to be in that band? Because the nice thing about that band, for our listeners outside of the Bay Area, the Professionals was a big band. Growing up as a musician in the Bay Area, especially if you, like I did, had a dad who's a sax player, you grew up on a healthy dose of Tower of Power.
Wow.
So these great big funky bands with a horn section just, fed our soul. If not just Tower, but really based in Tower. But I also had Confunction, and then we had all the other bands, Earth, Wind and Fire,
Hmm.
etc. And then, we grew up in the emergence of hip hop. And so I always thought, man, it hip hop is awesome, but I sure am a little bit sorry that those great big bands like Tower aren't around anymore. And then came the Professionals. And you guys had rappers and singers and a big old band with a horn section. And that was everything I ever dreamed of. So I came to as many shows as I could,
Oh,
and I
okay.
would see you at all the places. You guys would play at Slim's all the time, and you guys even recorded a live album at Slim's.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I always wondered, the economics of this band cannot possibly work out, because how do you pay all these people? And how do you get all these people to rehearse this? Because you guys played some great tunes that required a lot of rehearsal.
Hmm. Hmm.
How did that work? Did you guys make
Uh,
any money?
we did make some money. We made at that time we made enough money so that we were able to. I mean, as I'll speak for myself. I made enough money so that I was able to cover things that I needed to cover um, at that time in my life. But I understand what you're saying. How does that math work, right? There's 100%, and if there's 15 people, how do we divide, say, the $100 between all of us? Well, you just do that math, and it would come down to what it is, because it is what it
Yeah,
is. But the thing about it, when you, I'm just going to speak for how I thought about it and how I feel that the people who I was involved with in the professionals were feeling. We really did it for the love, because we weren't getting paid what we thought we should be getting paid, and that, I remember, was a discussion that we had a few times,
yeah,
probably prompted by me, because of my history. I would always wonder why we couldn't get paid more, understanding that there were the amount of people that was in the group, and the person who wanted us. So doesn't he want to pay what we want? But yeah, there's politics and all that kind of stuff that I had to learn, and I
sure.
learned through the professionals. So yeah, we weren't really doing it for the money, period. We were doing it out of love. The money was definitely a helpful bonus, and kind of kept us focused. And I was in my addiction at that time, so the money was a thing where I was like, okay, well, if I can get the money, then I can definitely go take care of my addiction. So
Mm,
I definitely want to get this money, whatever amount it is. But it was always something that my addict in my head would say, oh yeah, we can work with that kind of thing. So, but at the
wow.
same time, it was out of the love that we did it, because we had so much fun, and we were being creative, and I was being creative for the first time in a long time. But that was after the Timex Social Club and right before I got five on it, so I was kind of lost out there in creativity wise. And one of my buddies kind of started and introduced me to the professionals, and I gravitated to them. I had so much fun, and
Fantastic.
the thing about it with the Timex Social Club, I'm the lead guy, so
Yeah.
all attention is on me, right? But with the professionals, it was like a team. Everybody got the ball, and everybody got to do their thing at a certain time on stage, so I could move up there without thinking that everybody's full attention is on me, and that made me free to be even more creative.
Took some pressure off.
Yes, that part.
And you had a whole set of tools that really, it's one thing when you have, because people could say, well, if you're the songwriter, you got all the tools, but it's different when you have a good horn section
Yeah,
and they can embellish on an idea that you have.
yeah.
And then
A
you can do
guitar
some,
player or a bass player,
yeah, yeah,
keyboard player. Yeah,
man, everything.
yeah,
Um, I think the thing that I want to do is return some of that love because man, I know you got it from the crowds, and I'm so happy to hear that you that you all did it for the love, and I heard that a lot.
mhm.
But we sure did love you also because man, it was a party every single time. And it was a party that really we got to claim in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
Like the Mofessionals were uniquely ours, and as
yes.
Mofo fans, we were proud to go. So I think really the furthest I ever went to go see you, I think I went to go see you in San Jose one time. You played in San Jose. Oh, you opened for Third World.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that was the furthest that I ever had to drive. Otherwise, I would, see you at all the places around the bay.
Hmm.
And, it was terrific for that. But I also appreciate you speaking candidly about your addiction, your issues there, your methods to recovery, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So let's rewind because we jumped right into the Mo's and skipped a very vital chapter, which was your emergence from high school into the biggest stages in the world. That happened pretty fast,
Yeah, yeah. I graduated high school in '83, and the song "Rumors" came out in '86. Um,
man.
and then from there, it was kind of like you say, thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Hmm.
Got into the Raising Hell tour. They needed a act to fill the slot for the Beastie Boys, who weren't going to come on the West Coast South leg of the tour, that Raising Hell tour.
Uh-huh.
we happened to have somebody in our camp who had the ability to get us on that show when it came to Oakland. So we started there, and then we ended up getting more dates, and we went out for about 15 more times. So yeah, I got to see the United States for the first time back then.
Here's the getting the gig part of it. The nuts and bolts of it are that you guys had a promoter at the time, right? An Italian guy who, if I remember correctly, lives in Walnut Creek.
Yeah, he's a independent label owner, and he is a former A&R guy. That's what he was.
Okay, so he was an A&R guy.
Yeah.
Say that again?
Dave Lucchese.
Dave Lucchese. He had a maybe still has, but had a record label at the time called Dania Records.
Yes.
And so he had an ability as a former A&R guy, he was connected.
Yes.
And when the Raising Hell tour, which that summer was the biggest tour in the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that was Run DMC. They had the biggest record. They were breaking all the ground. They were the big first really crossover hip hop act / record. Raising Hell was enormous.
Yeah, big time.
And so, and the words you just said, if somebody missed it, was that the Beastie Boys were on that tour, because it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Run DMC, Houdini, oh shucks, who else was on that tour with you?
LL,
Run DMC, Houdini, LL Cool J, and then not the Beastie Boys,
but the Timex
Michael Marshall and the Timex Social Club. So you guys did the one show in Oakland, which I know you turned out.
Oh yeah, that was being home. I barely remember that. I was so excited. That was big. That was big.
Okay, so there's a stroke of luck though that happened in your Lucchese connection, because he was able to get you on that tour date without you having to. Now, if you're a local act and the tour comes, usually the tour promoter will say, well, there's a band that wants this stage. We'll give it to you. You got to pay for it though.
Yes, it's called a buy-on. That's the standard. That still works to this day. But at that time, we had the biggest song out of all those groups. Rumors was taking off. It was bigger than all of them. And
hey,
so
I had the cassette single, so I'm proud to say I was part of that.
Cassette is a heavy word, boy. Wow.
But you had so you had the biggest record, which meant that they were coming to Oakland and you were going to do them a favor.
Yes, and that's how we got more dates, because they needed somebody to fill that slot so for the rest of the tour. So that was in their mind when they approached some of the people in the band about doing more dates.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a win for them, especially at the price they got us at. It was a win for them,
especially at the price they got you at. So you had this enormous song. You're just a couple years out of high school. You're hitting the stages with this tour that is the biggest tour in the universe that summer. And it's night after night. So you guys did a leg of the tour with them that you said was 15 or 16 dates?
Yeah.
Okay, to include now, so where were you in the Bay Area? That first night was at the Oakland Coliseum?
Yes.
Yeah. So then let's just paint the picture of starting at the Oakland Coliseum and then doing 16 dates after that on tour with that roster.
Okay, so we were super excited about the Oakland show, and we got wardrobes for it. You know, the record company wanted to make sure we looked good. It was the first time people were going to see us.
Yes.
Even though we're from Berkeley, that people hadn't seen us before. So, you know, people were excited to do that. So we wanted to make sure we presented well. So we got one of my buddies who used to hang around me and the guy who wrote the song Rumors, and we made it look like it was kind of like a boy band. Two guys on the side of me and one guy behind me on the stack of keyboards that he would be pretending like he's playing as the MIDI is controlling it. You know what I mean? Because back then it was MIDI.
Right.
Play button, and it would operate all the machines, and it would play what you had taught it to play.
Yeah.
I think. But so after the Oakland show, we got word that we had other days because that we didn't know that going into the show. I think one of the members was approached after the show by powers that be, and took it on himself to agree to do that without speaking to all of us. But we were excited. We didn't really think about the cons part of that. We weren't thinking about the pro side. Oh, we about to go on tour, blah blah. So yeah, that was difficult because in a short period of time we needed to work on transportation and lodging for these 15 cities that we're going to be going to. And the grown-up who was kind of managers at that time, he couldn't leave, so he sent us kids out there, and we had
into the world.
Yeah, into the world. We had to go deal with it by ourselves.
And you didn't have logistical support from the tour?
No,
wow.
Record company wasn't paying us anything to go out there and do that because he didn't know that we were going to agree to doing those other dates. And the key part was the amount of money that we were getting paid made it even worse. Run DMC and them got about $60,000 a show, plus room and board. Houdini got about $30,000 a show plus room and board. L got $15,000 plus room and board, and we got $1,500 to split between us with no room and board.
And you had to pay your own way.
Had to pay our own way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that sounds doable to maybe the lay person. Oh, it's $1,500 a show. I'll figure out a room where I can stay for $1,500 and a way to get there. I'll rent a van.
Right.
And we'll, but now you're talking about wear and tear on the body.
Yeah.
You're talking about all of the tour logistics that people pay to fix.
Yes.
So that you can rest between shows, so you do all those things. 15 shows. Wow, that's not that much. It's just 15 shows. That's a month.
Yes.
Of grind.
Yeah.
So if only a month, probably more like 2 months.
Yeah, because there were travel days in between.
Yeah. But those travel days, you still got to stay somewhere. So now that's cutting into your.
Yes. And the gas.
Yep. So you can't have made any money on that tour because you had to feed yourselves.
Right. Like you say, we were out there for about 2 months. And when we got back after all the math, we all got about $1,500 a piece. So that means we all for like that whole time for like one show.
One show.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you all came back a little bit worn, a little road weary.
Yep.
But did you come back superstars?
I wouldn't say superstars. In our community, it was a big deal because last time they had saw us was on the Raising Hell tour, and then we were gone, and the word was we were on the Raising Hell tour. Now remember, this was before the internet, so they weren't able to click on and see somebody's post about the show that we had did. It would be word of mouth, and the trades would come out monthly, so it wasn't like something that was being reported on every night, and it wasn't a big enough deal where a newspaper here will be reporting about a show that was in Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once we got back, then everybody was happy to see us, and you wanted to know
how it went
and all that. And so then they got to know that. And when you say superstars, that's a good point because the song is still bigger than everybody's. So, for not to we take the word superstar out of it, but for a popular act, it would seem like we would be on the top of the list here in the Bay Area. But when we got out for the show at Great America to open for Jermaine Jackson, whose song at the time was "Let's Get Serious," great song, I loved it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't bigger than Rumors. And Great America did not want to pay us fairly that day, and that's where life kind of changed.
Oh boy. How so? I mean, when you realize that it's Jermaine Jackson, so they're paying for the Jackson name.
Yeah.
But Let's Get Serious, as much as it was a great song, it didn't have a groundbreaking video. It didn't have any kind of push like that. I don't even know what it sold. Right. I remember, he had a dazzling performance on the Arsenio Hall show where he sang and played the bass and killed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean his song was anywhere near the size of Rumors.
No, not at all. And we talked about at the beginning, I didn't know business and capitalism like that. But once it was explained to me how that works
Mhm.
regarding popularity and quote unquote who's hot right now. I thought that the amount that they tried to pay us wasn't enough. And like again, we had just got off tour and got our payment, and everybody was able to do the math and see it wasn't math. And so
Yeah.
for Great America to offer us 1,500, no, I think they offered us $1,000. They wanted to pay us $1,000, and there's 4 people in the group, including our manager. That's 5, and we knew we'd have to split that, and we had just went through that. But I was the only one who wanted to push back. I demanded that we all get $1,000 a piece that night. That would only be 5,000, and I'm sure they were paying Jermaine maybe 10. It's Great America, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
had bread, but that pushback was viewed as arrogance. It
Oh
was
boy.
it was viewed as big-headedness. It was viewed as Michael has lost his mind, kind of thing, and
Really?
everything kind of changed. I was only
Wow.
trying to defend us. I was only trying to stand up for us, and maybe the manager was a little bit aggressive with it when the other members pushed back. But that's all I was saying, because I was tired. I was the one who had to do everything, right?
Yeah.
They're faking it. There's nothing plugged in. I'm singing everything, and one of the songs is in the wrong key, and the member in the band who we brought in to help couldn't fix the key problem, which was so frustrating. So yeah,
Oh,
I had had enough, and yeah, I had had enough.
you had an ear that was trained by all those years singing in the
Yeah.
church. And
Hmm.
so I imagine in your performance, man, if you're not hearing it right, what can you do? I mean, it's going
Yeah.
to throw everything off.
Had to scream every night on that second song.
Oh, come on.
Scream.
Yeah. So then the Great America incident happens. What did that mean? You know, when you say that gained a reputation there of being arrogant or whatever, a reputation among whom?
My colleagues,
Come
Marcus.
on, the rest of your team didn't get behind you about that?
No, they were pissed. They thought I was about to blow it, mess it all up, or whatever they was thinking.
Yeah.
But I was trying to protect us, but they didn't see it that way, and they kind of made up their mind that me and my manager was up to something, when
Okay.
all I was trying to do was make it fair for us. Now, I have to be honest. Turns out my manager and the record label had their own agenda, because again, I was doing everything.
Yeah.
Marcus, the lyrics for Rumors and for the song Thinking About You. But I wrote the music, and then I'm the only one singing on
Hmm.
all the recordings. That's just my voice.
Yeah.
Just my voice. And that was something I learned in the choir, singing in 25, 30 people in a group. I learned how to make my voice kind of blend with harmonies and stuff like that. So I was
Yeah.
really good at that. So that's what I did. And the record company saw that, and they wanted to trim the fat, but they
Yeah.
couldn't legally do that. And I'm sure in their head is like that would cause rift between the guys, but they didn't know that the rift had already started.
I
So
see.
at one point, some of the guys were like, if you try to put Mike out in front as the main person, we're going to walk away. And the record company wanted them to do that anyway. So they gaslit them and did exactly what they told them not to do. And
Wow.
that left me by myself.
Oh, man. So this is a dynamic of the story that I was a lot less aware of. I mean, I could see, as you describe it, sure. I can imagine that's how it happened. But keep going forward. So the Timex Social Club is a lot less of a club now.
Yeah.
And then, so what happens next? At what point did
So
you meet Jay King?
Jay King was there from the beginning, because before Dave Lucchese came and before the song was out, he was a person who had heard it. And so then he had the light bulb of such a unique song, and it's got a unique sound. Let's put that on a record and push it and see what we can do. And so Jay King, owner of King J Records, and the first song on King J Records was Rumors. He paid for us to go to the studio to record that. And so we went and did that, and then he pressed it up. And the only reason we were doing Rumors from the beginning, doing music was to have a song that we could play at the parties that we were throwing. One of the guys in the group was a DJ, and he threw a lot of parties that we went to in and after high school. It was for high school and college people back in the day, and they were pretty big. And he was pretty popular, and he knew some of the technology of the equipment that was being used that we would have to use. Like I told you, he was the guy behind me on the keyboards who would work the MIDI stuff. And I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
That's okay. We were talking about J. King stepped in.
Got it.
And, giving credit where credit is due, he had the vision to say, hey, we need to put you guys in the studio, and we need to really capture this thing, give it some fidelity, because we want to press it and we want to put it out in the world, and it has to compete with what else is out there.
Yes.
So we got to put you somewhere serious. Where did you record Rumors?
A studio in Richmond called Starlight.
Starlight Studios in Richmond. Ooh, Starlight Studios in Richmond. That was a nice studio. That was the one that eventually got robbed.
Yeah, it was over there in the Vallejo area.
Yeah. Don't call it the Vallejo area, man. I'm from Vallejo. That was in Richmond. We blame that on Richmond. Yeah. Just as a sidebar, Starlight Studios, man, was an amazing studio, and for sure cost a lot of money to go in there and record something, because they had great gear in there. And one night I want to say it was probably in the early 90s, somebody just backed up a U-Haul truck to Starlight Studios, kicked in the door in the middle of the night. I think there was an engineer in there who was doing like an overnight session. So there was hardly anybody in there. And they just came in with shotguns, tied up the people, rolled up the roll-up door, and unloaded Starlight Studios into the back of a U-Haul van with everything, including the console. They had this big, I think it was a big Einstein console, and a grand piano. And they took everything out of Starlight Studios. But that's a sidebar. Prior to that, Starlight Studios was a terrific, glorious, great sounding studio, and he took you in there. And how long did it take to record Rumors? And did you record anything else besides just that song? Did you record Thinking About You? What else did you do there?
No, we just did Rumors. It was I think it was a 2-day, 12-hour sessions.
Okay.
It was always through the night. But yeah, it wasn't very long. It was kind of a rush thing. I think he wanted to make sure he got it out.
Those through the night sessions, by the way, you did that because they were cheaper at nighttime.
Yes. Yes, exactly right. So so J. King, that was the introduction he offered to
foot the bill.
Yes. And so we took advantage of that, and then that gave him the upper hand because his name and information was on that. So when people would reach out to him, then he can move without really having to get our involvement. I think he probably would have tried to operate as a Barry Gordy kind of thing.
Yeah.
He would have got pushed in that, though, if it had got that far. But I think that's where he was kind of heading.
Sure. And I'm sure that he had it all in mind from the beginning to exploit that record. And exploit is a strong word, but that's the word that you use for taking a record and putting it out there and getting the most out of it and getting everybody to play it and everybody to hear it.
Yes.
In doing so, though, you also do the other things. Like if he paid for the studio time, that meant that if you ever had to go to court and say, listen, this is my song, he would go back and go, these are the track listings from the actual studio recording, pulled off of the engineer's clipboard. And it would say track 1 was the bass drum, track 2 was the snare drum, track all the way to here's Mike Marshall's vocals and his background vocals and his background vocals. And what's the name on the top right of the owners of the session? J. King.
Yeah.
So he would always have been, and that's not an indictment on J. King because he's doing what everybody does. But that is as a warning to you artists out there. When somebody opens their wallet to send you into the studio, which of course, happens a little less now that we have home studios, but that's what they're doing.
Right. Well, now, just to be clear, so people listening, the fact that his name is at the top of that paper In
Uh-huh.
court, it's not enough because the fact that he pays for it doesn't give him the ownership of the whole thing,
Right.
particularly because he didn't write anything. So
Uh-huh.
he can have a percentage of owner of the master, but the other percentage are supposed to go to the other people who were writing and publishing. So that's where the slickness came in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the slickness came in. Okay,
Right.
we'll get to that. So let's talk about the he puts you in the studio, you record it, you press it, get it mastered, put it out. What was it like putting it out? How did you guys get it out there on King J Records? Did he have a
Okay.
distribution deal?
So again, we only wanted the record for the club. We didn't know anything about any of that. So that's stuff
Uh,
that he's doing behind our backs, trying to move.
aha.
So when the phone numbers and the address that are on the record, when people are reaching out trying to invest into this because it's a new thing, and people who are in that business know that the guy who has the song out is going to want some help in exchange for something else, because there was no internet, and it's always been about payola. So it would need to get a lot of people in line and on your side for that record to kind of build, because there are gatekeepers. There are going to be people in the next state on the radio. The PD people are going to be like, well, we don't want to play that record unless they breaking us off or
Yeah.
with some kind of fair exchange. Like, they come into town and do a show and we can put our name on that show where we can get some bread too. What are they going to do for us? That kind of thing. It's never been, this song is out, the public heard it, and they're going to tear the radio station down if you don't play it. It's not like
Yeah.
that.
No, no, no. You have to be chosen for a reason. And a lot
Yes.
of that reason is so people can make money.
Yes, sir.
It is ultimately a business.
So when Jay would get those calls, he was trying to make moves, but they want to protect themselves. Okay, so you
Uh-huh.
got a contract with these guys so that when we're doing business and we go to court, we can say, well, he owns the artist. They're signed to him, so he gets to do all these things under the law because he's signed to them, and he has the right to make money with them because they agreed to do that. But he
Yeah.
didn't have an agreement with us. He was in this business too. He just was greedy. He
I
was moving
see.
too fast, and he didn't talk with us about it. We had a guy on our side who could have helped him maneuver around that, but he wanted to move the way he wanted to move.
Huh. Okay. So now the dispute happens and you are no longer want to do business with him because it's just, you can see that he's working, but he's not necessarily working on your behalf.
Right. Well, he came to us, and after realizing all that, and he wanted us to sign a contract. Now, one of the best things about the relationship I had with the guys was that way before we even started thinking about doing music, in high school and after high school, our conversations were around new music that was coming out, because we were in a mixologist club. We were DJs or aspiring DJs. So we were always having conversations about music and artists. And the two people whose music and business we talked about the most was Michael Jackson and Prince. And if you go back and look at it, around 85, 86, maybe 83 and 84, those two were battling with their record companies, wanting
Yeah.
their independence, pushing
Yeah.
back against the standard of what was going on, pushing back against the Berry Gordys of the world. And
Yep.
so he came to us with a contract. He needed to get signed quickly because he was being offered money by the fools who were duped.
Yes.
Who he told he had the voice of rumors. He had that group. He had that sound. So he needed to prove it. But when he came to us with the contract, it was for 10 years, and we didn't even read it. We just heard that it was for 10 years. None of us wanted to do that.
Standard 10-year deal.
Yeah. He didn't want to negotiate or discuss with us. Now, he's a little older than us. He could have easily talked us into that. But he got angry. And, then it was this, Jay's from Vallejo by way of Sacramento. So he kind of came with this kind of gangster kind of vibe. And we Berkeley cats, Berkeley and West Oakland cats, and we wasn't having all that.
Wasn't having it. You really try hard to throw Vallejo under the bus. I'm not sure how much we claim JK. Anyway, no, but you're right. I mean, so at that point, there was a rift, and you had no desire to sign this agreement, and you had great examples in, Michael Jackson's split from Motown.
Yeah.
Prince, boy, had it out with Warner's, and they were trying to hold him back from doing
Yeah.
everything he wanted to do. That's why he put Slave on his cheek.
Yes. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, all of that. The artist formerly known as all
Yeah,
that
all
business.
that. Yep.
So, man, and it is like, if you want to stereotype where you're from, it is like Berkeley to say, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
We will not
can't
be
do it like
exploited.
that. We don't want to do it like that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it? No, we can't talk about it.
We can't talk about it.
I'm gonna tell the whole world that I had to change the name because the Timex company didn't want it, and I'm gonna get some other guys, and we're gonna keep it pushing. And
Okay, so the Timex Social Club never got a hard time from the Timex Watch Company.
No,
Is that right?
never.
They never tripped. But
Nope.
his story about it was Timex is going to give us a hard time here, so I'm going to change the name of the band
to Club Nouveau.
Mm-hmm.
The new club.
Right.
Yeah.
So he still took the club concept.
Yes.
And he just made it the new club.
He took our whole concept.
Everything.
Everything. He took every song that Club Nouveau did.
Art concepts.
The art concept too. That now Marcus's brother, the co-writer of Rumors, his brother did that artwork, but they all knew each other. Marcus's brother knew Jay from Vallejo days and the Sacramento days, and so he was able to manipulate that. And then this story leads up to where we were starting about the tour, because after he came and offered that 10 years and we said no, that's when we parted ways. And that's when Dave Lucchese came into the picture, because he heard about that. And he came in, and his selling pitch to us was, I can get you your money from Jay King. I can get you free from him. And in fact, my buddy is throwing this concert, blah, blah, blah. You guys can get on with Run DMC. And we were sold. We just knew there was going to be somebody looking out for us, because we didn't know what we were doing. And this guy believed in us and said that he would do things. And we were naive enough to believe he would do what he said he would do.
Well, and he was connected, and it was easy to believe that he had the resources and the experience and the friends.
Yeah, because
behind you.
His hit on that label, Daniel, was the show with Ducky Fresh. So once we heard that, we were like, oh, but this dude's established. Jay's not.
Right.
You know what he's doing.
I mean, he was from Walnut Creek, and he had a New York record.
Yes. A huge New York record.
Man. And we love that record.
And that's what pushed him, because we're close to him. So he could, he had access to us before anybody in any other place who really likes to move like New York ones, because they would have been on our helmet, but they couldn't. They didn't have the information for it because there was no internet. So that had to be word of mouth. That had to be trades. Yeah, he was in Walnut Creek, so he got all that word of mouth. Who are these kids, man? They playing.
He heard it.
Radio. What's going on? Let me go down to Berkeley and find out what's going on. And he probably heard about the riff, because this Warner Brothers has offered Jay King money at this point. So the word's out there, and he's a former A&R guy for Warner. So he probably said, oh, damn, I missed my opportunity. Here's my chance to get back in there.
Yeah. So when the Club Nouveau record came out, he had a whole new personnel. Everything was, how much overlap was there exactly?
Well, the girl Valerie from the group, when we were doing talent shows, she would be one of the people on stage singing with me for a couple of songs. But that didn't translate into the Timex Social Club stuff, because in my mind, her voice and mine didn't mesh that well.
I see.
I had heard a lot of women singing in my days in the church, and her style was something I hadn't heard before, so I didn't take to it.
You had an ear for what you wanted too.
Yes.
Besides that, I think we probably skipped over the fact that the Timex Social Club as a concept, when you guys put it together, was sort of based on our deep endearment of the time.
Yeah.
And so you guys were a band full of dudes anyway.
Yep. And we were doing talent shows, and we wanted to do that Rumors song in one of those talent shows. But the song came together after we graduated. So the administration said, well, you guys can't actually participate in the talent show because it's for the students. But when the judges are making their decision, there is a moment where the DJ is just playing music. You guys can come and do your song at that point. So
See, Berkeley loves ringers, man. So they were going to put you guys on as a here's the interlude, and while you guys are making the decision and tallying up the votes for all these high school kids, we're going to bring in this band that has matured in the real world.
yeah,
They've marinated. They're Berkeley alums, but they've been
yeah,
out there for a minute, and we're going to bring them out there to blow everybody's mind while the
yeah.
judges are tallying up the score. And just another sidebar. So as a I played in the jazz band at my high school, and the Berkeley High Jazz Band, for those of you who are watching the show who did not grow up in the Bay Area, we did not compete against the Berkeley High Jazz Band. There was the competition among all the high schools in Northern California. And then while the judges were tallying up their votes for who was going to win the trophy, they say, oh, by the way, we're going to bring out the Berkeley High Jazz Band as an exhibition. So this is what jazz really sounds like while we're tallying up the votes for the amateurs.
Right, right.
And that was real. I mean,
Yeah.
we would go out there and we would rehearse and we would do our thing and we would play against bands that were great. I mean, I remember there was one competition I went to where we went to up against the jazz band from Cordova High in Rancho Cordova, which
Whoa.
we were like, they're a bunch of country bumpkins from Sacramento. That band was blowing smoke, but they still weren't Berkeley High. So after we got done giving our best and they got done giving our best, and then they said, well, we're going to let Berkeley High come up here and play and show you guys how it's done while we tally up the votes. And then we would just sit there with our faces melted like, man, we hate these Berkeley guys. But we love them, but we hate them. So that's what they did with you. They said, okay, we're going to bring you guys up. We're going to put you as an exhibition section of this talent show.
Mhm.
This is what all of you talents in high school can become if you persevere and also happen to be lucky.
Yeah, that's true. I think that is what they were doing. They were propping us up to the student body because everybody knew us. We were only like 3 years out of school. So it was that was not a watershed moment. That was a big moment because we got to see that our peers really liked what we had did.
Yeah.
And
Plus, you had a milestone event to work for. And I think that's one of the things that propels bands as well is that, well, we have this big gig, man. We got to get in the woodshed. Otherwise, you just get in there and you're doing your thing. But
we weren't like that. First of all, it always bothered me back in the day because, for lack of a better phrase, any musical group was called a band. So the Timex Social Club was called a band. But I am from Berkeley High. I know what a band is. Even though I wasn't in the jazz band at Berkeley High, I was in the feeder group from the elementary school Malcolm X to West Campus, where we worked with the same people who worked with the jazz band. They were teaching us how to play instruments. I played trombone and trumpet back in school. So when the talent show and the Run DMC thing were way far apart, like 9 months. So the talent show happens. People hear that. It's on a cassette tape. A few months later, Jay King hears about it while in Alaska. So then he comes back here and then gets with us to record it. So now we're in the place where it's been recorded and it's flattened out. And then we go back, we just talked about that. So there's some time got to get. So there wasn't ever this kind of mindset of, man, we got this raising hell thing. We need to work. The only work we did, the manager was telling us, was to present something because Mike just can't go up there with the microphone like he did at the talent show and sing it with nobody else around him. We need to make a presentation. So that kind of work we did. We went and got some people. We went and got some fake instruments, and then we would
just to make an act out of it.
Just to make an act out of it. Just to make a band out of it. Because other than that, it was just Michael.
But your creation, though, made it all the way up to Jay in Alaska, and he came back for that.
Yeah. The guy who was kind of managing us and worked in the Black Studies department at Berkeley High, so we kind of knew this guy. He was on vacation, and he really believed in the song. He believed in it before anybody else. And he took it out there and was playing it for people trying to get some feedback, and Jay King heard about it. And then he came back and he started moving the wheels to do that. So he was in our corner at one time because this manager that we had was an LA dude, and he wasn't playing around. So if he had seen any of this stuff coming from Jay, he would have got us away from that dude way before we had a chance to record it. Because anybody could have took us to the studio and recorded. The music was mine. He didn't come in and produce nothing. They played what I played and then added accents to it so that there was just more things going than what I had played.
Yeah. But the composition was yours.
Yes, sir.
So then as we move forward, man, so two things in the interest of time, because you've given us so much detail in this story, but you have such a complicated story. So there's two things I want to ask you. First of all, we're coming up on our time limit here, but absolutely, I would love to have you back as many times, your story is so compelling. I will have you as many times as you will give to this story.
We should do it, man. People can come on your show too and get those chapters.
I think that okay, so then what I would like to do then is I want to put a pin in this event, because the next thing we're going to talk about in a part 2 is the next chapter, is the chapter of watching Club Nouveau unfold, away from you.
Yeah.
And then what I would like to do now, though, is fast forward to, because it did unfold away from you.
Yes.
However, at some point you get approached by the Luniz, and they have an idea to sample a song of yours for a song of theirs that they want to do, and they have grand ideas about it. And you decide instead that, hey, I'll participate in this, and I'll recreate the song and I'll update it, make it a little punchier, make it just kind of take it through the years, and let's do what we would do now with it to match the stylings of the song.
I definitely want to say right here that the way you described that would make the audience think that I was doing the production of it to punch it up, to make it better than what the original was. It wasn't. Tone Capone, the producer, Tone Capone from Berkeley, and he did that. He was approached by the Luniz, but I knew Tony, and Tony knew my story about Club Nouveau and how I got cheated and all that. So he knew that. But in his mind, this was an opportunity for me to get publishing that I didn't have on a song that people didn't know was stolen from my music. And we're referring to the song Why You Treat Me So Bad, which is a copy of Thinking About You, which me and Marcus did for the Timex Social Club. So the producer, Tone Capone, he knew that. So he brought me in to replay the music, and then he added drums, and then he added those samples, and then he wanted me to sing it. So I took what the kids were singing and their idea and kind of cleaned it up a little bit and made it what it is, and we agreed on how it was going to move forward, and that's how we came up with I Got 5 on it.
I appreciate the correction on that, and and we want to give Tone Capone his due as well,
for sure,
because he did a great thing. I'd like to get him on the show too, and I had a nephew of his on the show who I admire quite a bit, who I didn't know Tone Capone was his uncle, but Hassan Hurd. You know Hot Sauce?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm a drummer and I live in Benicia, and Hot Sauce is a drummer and he lives in Benicia now. And yeah, and that's a bad boy. Yes, so anyway, I appreciate that correction. He did it. He deserves the credit for doing it. Yes, you came in though, and you finally got some due on the publishing for a song that you deserve the publishing on.
Yes.
So right on for the Luniz. Also, you man, the update that you got. I mean, there's a whole generation of kids who love I Got 5 on it, who's missed Why You Treat Me So Bad entirely anyway.
Yeah. There's the generation right now don't know the Why You Treat Me So Bad song, but at that time when 500 came out, everybody in the Bay Area knew Why You Treat Me So Bad. So that's why I kind of grabbed everybody. And then there's the subject matter of marijuana. It was an easy win. That was an easy win. I knew it when we finished the song, and I was listening to the finished thing. I was like, this is going to be a hit. But no one in the room believed that.
Yeah. Not just the subject matter of marijuana. because, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people singing about weed, but specifically, I got 5 on it.
Yes.
That spoke to the community spirit of, hey man, we're gonna
go find some weed.
Yeah, let's go find some weed. We're gonna, hey, I'm in. Let's
I'm
do this
in.
together. So it spoke to the togetherness that I think in the Bay Area is unique in hip hop.
Yeah.
In that form of togetherness. So you guys really captured not just that, you know, subject matter, but that vibe, that moment.
Yeah.
And
kind of some unity, a little bit of unity and all this, the division in the rap scene in the Bay Area.
Yeah. And such great, every piece of that song was great because it had all those great verses on it, and you tied it all together with that hook.
Yes. That's what I like to pride myself with my hooks. My hooks are a summation of what the verses are, and they always have been. That's my understanding of what a hook is. After the verses go, what did that person just say? I'm explaining what they just said in a shorter version. They took them 16 bars to say what they said. I'm doing mine as an 8, and I'm just going to tell you what that person just said. This is what he said. He said he got 5 on it. So grab your 40 and let's get keyed. We got 5 on it. We messing with that endo weed. I got 5 on it. It's got me stuck, and I'm toe back. I got 5 on it. Player, let's go half on a sack.
That's right. That's the spirit of community.
Yes, sir.
You guys, my guest today has been Michael Marshall. I'll tell you what, man, this has been an extreme pleasure. I've had the pleasure of having some magnificent guests lately on this show. But I will say that none of them have the history that I've been waiting on, you know, meeting you virtually, and I can't wait to meet you in person. But like I said, I've been a longtime admirer of all of your work, and I've been you know, enormously happy to see you persevere all of these milestones. And I don't think you're done getting yours, man.
No, it's not over. It's not over.
So before we do the next chapters in subsequent episodes, what are we looking forward to seeing from you?
I have this gospel song that I worked on with, you know, we were talking about my bandmate Zoe Ellis. I picked Zoe Ellis's brain and we came up with this gospel song, and it's a play on the 5 on the song. It's called I Got God on It. And I encourage you to look that up. I'm not a preacher, and we didn't get into it really heavily. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in a higher power. As a recovering addict, you have to. And the song is basically speaking to not stressing and not worrying, because if you do believe in the religions and gods and all that, you're told over and over again that this higher power promised you that he would take care of you if you just believe. He promised that he had you if you just believe. And if you are a person of faith and you believe all that and your life is based on all that, my question is, why are you stressing? He said he got you. So just let him do it. And in my experience, it's always been like that. I don't really have to worry about anything because he said he was going to do it. And he always has. I'm still here through all the stuff that I've been through, still here, still winning, and I don't have any complaints about bills and relationships and all that kind of stuff. Everything has been the way it's supposed to be because I let God do it, as the song says. So look that up. Check that song out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Meezy, Michael Marshall.
See you on part 2.